Bakuchi oil contains essential fatty acids and contains 3 to 5% bakuchiol. Bakuchiol has claimed the title natural alternative to retinol, but it doesn't have any of the negative associations with retinol, like irritation. Bakuchiol can help keep skin soft and healthy looking and has been said to help with signs of aging, stimulate collagen, and improve skin tone. So today, I wanted to share with you how I made this Bakuchi cream using ingredients that were sent to me by Brambleberry, who is the sponsor of today's video. Brambleberry sells crafting supplies to make soap, bath bombs, body care, cosmetics, candles, hair care, and skincare products. Brambleberry recently released the Advanced Skincare Collection, which includes so many ingredients I literally screamed over, and Bakuchi oil was the one I was most excited about since I've been seeing it talked about everywhere online lately. The marine collagen and rice ceramide are also two other ingredients that are great for mature skin. The reishi mushroom and white birch are packed with antioxidants and nutrients for the skin, and the vitamin C and niacinamide are two vitamins that can help improve the overall appearance of skin. This is by far one of my favorite Brambleberry collections I've seen released, so I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. The ingredients you're going to need for this Bakuchi cream is, of course, some Bakuchi oil. I'm using emulsifying wax as my emulsifier, which is what's going to blend oil and water together and thicken the cream. I'm using glycerin as a humectant to hydrate the skin, apricot kernel oil as an emollient to moisturize the skin, GeoGuard 221 as the preservative, vitamin E oil as an antioxidant, and DL-panthenol as another humectant to help hydrate the skin. And it's also known as vitamin B5, which is an essential vitamin that is great for the skin. I also always recommend taking some 70% isopropyl alcohol and spraying down your work surface to make everything nice and sanitized before you formulate. So what I use to weigh out my ingredients and what I recommend you using is some kind of digital scale. You can purchase one over on Brambleberry. This was just released with their advanced skincare collection as well. And it comes with batteries, so that is a plus. So put on your gloves and let's get ready to make a 400 gram batch of the Bakuchi cream. Starting with phase A. I'm going to start out by adding in 260 grams of distilled water. You want to make sure it's distilled water, not regular tap water. And then I'm adding in 20 grams of glycerin. This is a humectant that is going to be hydrating your skin. Just quickly mix the two ingredients together. And then you want to remove the beaker from your scale, tear your scale, and place the beaker back on the scale. And take note of how much it weighs. That's because we're going to be heating this up and some of the water is going to evaporate. So we're going to have to re-weigh this and add back in any water that evaporates. But first, we are going to go ahead and weigh out the ingredients in phase B. These are the oil-soluble ingredients. I'm adding in 32 grams of emulsifying wax. This is our emulsifier that's blending the oil phase and the water phase together. It's also going to be adding some viscosity to the cream, which is what's going to be giving it that cream texture. I'm also going to add in 40 grams of apricot kernel oil. This oil is great for all skin types, but you can use a different plant oil here if you would like. And that is all we need for phase B. So grab phase A and grab phase B and grab some aluminum foil and cover both beakers with the aluminum foil. This helps prevent anything from falling in, and it just helps prevent any extra water evaporation that might occur. You're going to fill a pan with about an inch or so of water, depending on how big your beakers are, and put it over medium heat and place both beakers in the water bath. And you're going to want to let these sit until everything in phase B is melted and phase A is somewhat around the same temperature. It doesn't need to be the exact same temperature. It just also needs to be hot along with the phase B. That way when you blend them together, phase B doesn't immediately re-solidify. So that's the whole reason we're heating up both phases. While those are heating, we are going to go ahead and weigh out the phase C ingredients. In phase C, we need 20 grams of distilled water. This is because we want to add in some DL-panthenol, and DL-panthenol is heat sensitive, so we can't add it into phase A. Instead, we are going to have to add 8 grams of it into the 20 grams of distilled water to dissolve it. And we're going to add it in once the moisturizer cools down. You'll see, we'll do that here in a minute. As of now, we just need to get the DL-panthenol dissolved so we can add it into the product later. So that's the whole reason we have water and D-L-panthenol in this phase. It's just simply so we can get the D-L-panthenol dissolved. Now once phase B is completely melted, and remember you do want phase A to also be heated along with phase B. They don't need to be exactly the same temperature. You also might need to come back periodically and mix phase B to help melt it. But in my experience, it melts pretty easily, but this can vary depending on what size batch you create. Now go ahead and turn on your scale and place phase A back on it, because remember, we did heat this and some water did evaporate. Normally, I don't get any more than 1 gram of evaporation. So normally we add in just around 1 gram of water. Now you want to remove phase B and go ahead and pour your phase A into phase B and mix with an immersion blender. I recommend using an immersion blender. I don't really recommend anything else. This will get you the best quality emulsions. And you just need to mix for a couple seconds and then let it sit and let it cool and return to room temperature. You can come back and mix it with the immersion blender if you want, but once it thickens, don't mix it again. And once it cools to 100 degrees Fahrenheit or under, you can go ahead and pour in your phase C ingredients and mix that in. And now it's time to move on to phase D, and it's time for 12 grams of Bakuchi oil. I'm adding this in at the end, again, because it's heat sensitive. And we didn't add it into phase C because Bakuchi oil is oil soluble. So that's why we're adding it in at the end. It's heat sensitive and it's oil soluble. Then I'm going to go ahead and add in 4 grams of vitamin E. This is also oil soluble, so that's why we couldn't put it in phase C, and it's also heat sensitive. So that's why we're adding it in at the end once everything's cooled. GeoGuard 221 is our preservative. I'm adding in 4 grams of it. Again, it's heat sensitive, so that's why we're adding it in at the end. And once you have everything mixed together and it's cool to room temperature, you can cover with some plastic wrap and let it sit overnight and let it reach its final viscosity. Overnight, it might thicken up a little bit more. I didn't notice too much of a viscosity increase, but it's always best to let it sit overnight before jarring into your jars. And we got this gorgeous, gorgeous creamy texture. I am so obsessed with the way this cream turned out. I think you guys are all going to love the texture. And the last thing I want to talk about before we jar up this cream is pH, since that is super important when it comes to formulating skincare products. Right here is my more advanced pH meter, which works in creams, as cheaper pH meters will not take the pH of creams. So I will link down below to this more expensive one so you don't have to dilute your cream. But I'll also link to this cheaper pH meter. That's the one I'm holding here. And this one won't take the pH of creams. You will have to dilute them. And how I do this is I take a small beaker. I use a 20 milliliter beaker, add in just a little bit of cream and then some water. You want to do 10% cream with 90% water, but I normally just eyeball it here and just mix the two together until it's liquidy, and then add in your pH meter. And I have a pH of around 4.59. And then I also took the pH with my more advanced pH meter with a non-diluted solution and got 4.54. So you shouldn't have to worry about pH adjustments with this formula, but I do always recommend checking the pH of your products before using them just to be safe. So I'm going to be using these 2-ounce glass frosted jars from Brambleberry, which are my favorite jars from them. They're the ones I'm obsessed with currently because I use these clear labels that I make. I will actually link down below to my video that shows you guys exactly how to make these clear labels. They are waterproof, oil-proof, and scratch resistant, and these labels look so cute on these frosted jars. I absolutely love the way they look. I hope you guys like it as well. And yeah, now it's time to just jar up the cream and use it in your skincare routine. So what's great about Bakuchi, unlike retinol, because remember, Bakuchiol is like a natural alternative to retinol, you can use it in the AM and PM because it doesn't make your skin sensitive to the sun. That is what I really love about Bakuchi compared to retinol, and retinol really can irritate my skin, and I haven't experienced any irritation from this stuff. It also has vitamin B5, which is the D-L-panthenol, and vitamin E, which are great vitamins for the skin. So I think everybody is going to love this cream. And if you do want to make it a little thinner, you can try 6% emulsifying wax instead of 8%, and it will make it more lightweight. but I really loved the texture of this cream and using emulsifying wax at 8%. Now I do want to give something just an honorable mention. It's these natural fragrance oils that Brambleberry sells. I have cucumber waters, raspberry and sweet pea, and bergamot and nectarine. They have a whole bunch of other natural fragrance oils on brambleberry.com, so go check out the whole collection. You can add 1% of any of these into the phase D if you want to add some fragrance to the cream. Now, if you're wanting to make this project yourself, you can click the link in my description box. It'll also be in the top pinned comment, where you can head on over to brambleberry.com and purchase all of these ingredients. Just an easy click. It's all on one page. It'll be so fun seeing your guys' recreations, so make sure you tag me on Instagram if you make it yourself. And tag Brambleberry. Before I sign off, I just want to remind you guys there are so many other new ingredients in this collection besides the Bakuchiol oil. There's marine collagen, rice ceramide, reishi mushroom, white birch liquid, vitamin C, niacinamide, and a digital scale if you're looking for a digital scale. Thank you guys so much, Brambleberry, for sponsoring me. I really appreciate it. I love you guys so much. I'm so glad that we get to continuously work together, and I'm so excited to see what else we do in the future. Thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing, and thank you so much for watching, guys. You guys are awesome too. Wouldn't be here without you. Leave me a comment, leave me a thumbs up, and subscribe if you're new here. Talk to you later.
In the motions, I've been consumed by the wrath of time. Like I'm shattered in this life. It's still the path that I've chosen, because I've had a vision. Now I'm on a mission to find myself